네, 담원과 그리핀의 2세트
Damwon
경기
managed to even out the game by picking up the win in game number 2. Griffin fell so hard in game number 2. What went wrong on the Griffin
사실
side?
이번 경기 같은 경우는
For this kind of
유튜브에
game,
올리실
you
때
know,
ASMR 태그를 달아서
you have to
제목을
put an
이제
ASMR
다루는,
tag
영상
and
뭐
like
이런 걸로
title
좀
should be
올리면
like
조회수가
this will
정말
help
잘
you
나오지
fall
않을까
asleep
개인적으로 생각하고
really
있는데요.
well.
왜 그렇게 되었느냐?
Because
픽에서 좀 맞는 문제가 있었죠.
it started from the pick and bans.
오른손 픽 그리고 자야랑
Damwon
아주
Gaming
무난하게
took
이제
B1
1, 3
Orn
픽과
and
4,
then
5
blind
픽도
picked
그냥
Zaya.
무난하게 자르반
And
픽을
their
완성을
comp
했는데
was really
문제는
on meta,
이렇게
you know,
되겠죠.
very favorite
그렇죠.
picks
뭐
in the
소라카
current
상대로
meta.
오른
However,
라프를
Griffin
뽑은,
twisted this a little
그리고
bit.
담원이잖아요, 상대가.
Soraka
탑
against Orn?
빅토르라고 생각을 했어요.
And also,
그리고
because it's
데미지
Damwon,
밸런스상 키아나를
well, it was
뽑았을
easy to
때
expect
누가
that
오른을 잡을 수 있을까에 대한
Noguri
의문을
will be the
우리
one
모든
taking
분들이 가졌을
Victor.
거고, 저 같은 경우는 소라카와 키아나
So Soraka,
시너지도 안
Kiana,
맞고,
they don't have
키아나 대신
much of a
블라디,
synergy.
오리아나, 라이즈 같은 약간
Maybe they
소라카와
should go with
시너지도 좋고, 오른을
Vladimir,
잡을 수 있는
Ryze,
좋은
Orianna
픽이
that
있었는데
had a
키아나를
really good
뽑으면서
synergy
약간
with Soraka
빅토르
and
치고
also had the
들어가지
ability
않았나라는
to
생각이
melt
듭니다.
down
소위
Orn,
말해서
but
그냥
Griffin did not go with this draft, so
뱀픽을
Griffin
보면
had a very
목적이
odd
보이는
and
거예요.
abnormal
목적이 하나도 안
draft.
보이고 그냥
We
의미
couldn't
없는
see any
뱀픽을
purpose
했고
in
그냥
their
한
draft
경기를
and
버린
comp,
셈이 됐죠.
so they just gave away game number 2.
찾을 수 없는 그런 뱀픽이었다고 말씀을 해주셨고요. 저희가 사실
So Griffin's
어떤 장면을 봐야 하나
draft
고민을
overall
진짜
didn't
많이
have any
했는데
logic at
그래도
all,
의미 있는
so
장면이 있어서
let's go
준비는
through some of the
했습니다.
highlights.
보시죠.
이제 레드 팀의 마지막 픽인 키아나.
So the last pick coming in from the red side was Kiana.
키아나의 필살기라고
So,
볼 수
Kiana
있는
Reliance on
궁극기
both
정화를
summer spells,
정말 어이없는
Flash Ignite
최고의
is
내절이라고
so
하죠.
high.
그걸로
So the
초반에
flash
이렇게
combo and the finishing
정말 의미
damage
없이
from
날려버렸어요.
the Ignite was so important.
이유는
However, Yuka
약간
just
라인전이
wasted
있음에도
all
불구하고
flash,
6렙
Ignite, and
강가 싸움,
ultimates.
오브젝트 싸움에서 굉장히 강한 챔피언입니다.
Kiana is
하지만
so strong
저거는
in
이제
level
키아나의
6
장점이 드러나야
of
할
river
약간
fights.
시간대인데
However, he
키아나가
did not
이렇게
achieve
허무하게
any
죽어버리고
point when
키아나의
he
장점도
used them.
없어지고 상대가 조합이
So
좀 더
Griffin was
좋다고
not
생각을
able
하니까
to
이제
capitalize
가져간 거죠,
on
이
the
게임을.
strengths of
네,
Kiana,
저런 실수가
and they had a
나오죠.
very
키아나
bad
이제
competition
전멸
overall.
정화
So
궁극기가 다 빠진
they lost a
상황이잖아요.
huge
상대
momentum
입장에서는
over there.
이제
Kiana was down with
남은
all
게임 동안
ults,
쓸모없어. 이런
Ignite,
식으로 콜을
Flash,
했을 것
so
같아요. 제가
Damwon
만약에 게임을
players would be so comfortable after seeing Yuka with all the significant skills.
자, 유카 선수가 이렇게 아쉬운 모습 보인 가운데 이 뒤에는 사실상
And
경기가
after that
일방적으로
play, it
원사이드로
was a very
흘러가면서
one-sided
끝났습니다.
match
그리고
coming in
저희가
from
살펴봐야
Damwon
할
Gaming.
부분이 오른에 대해서
So we would rather talk about Orn, that was so critical
10점
champion
3세트를 넘어오면서
in
3대장
the
이제
10.3
세트 아펠리우스 아칼리가
meta.
무너지고 새로운 대장님이 또
So we have a new
등장을
leader
하셨어요.
for this
어른인데요.
patch. This is Orn.
일단 그
Flex pick
전체적으로
for both
사기
lane,
픽이라고
top and
평가받는
mid, and a
픽들이
lot of people are saying
공통점이
this is
뭐냐면
OP.
여러 라인을 갈 수 있다는 점과
This is so overpowered
스피드로
because
먼저 가져간다는
it's an
점인데
easy blind pick and it
사실
can be
좀
rotated in
담원에게 좀
multiple lanes.
허무하게 오를 내주고
So
그냥
giving away
대한
that Orn
대처도
so
잘안
easily
되는
for
그런
Damwon Gaming and
그렇죠.
Griffin not
근데
having any
최근
specific
경기를 보면
solution in that
수비적으로
champion,
픽을 하는
well,
팀들이 웬만하면
well, it was a
약간
very
이게 저는
expected loss, to be honest.
LCK가 이제 점점 더 빠르게 굴리는
So
팀들이
LCK
있잖아요. 점점 더
now,
게임이
the
재밌어질 거고
speed,
그거에
the
대한 이제
teams with
과정이라고
more
생각을
speed
하기
always
때문에
win. So
지금은 약간 LCK가 점점
LCK
재밌어지는
is
과정
getting
이렇게
to
생각할 수 있어.
getting more exciting, you know.
보다는 저는 약간 이걸 말하고 싶었어요.
So
그래서
later I
그런
just want to
생각.
say his thoughts on LCK, the meta in LCK. So when they learn throughout their bad draft, they will kind of figure out this kind of draft will never let us win any game. So with that powerful Orn, Damwon Gaming picked up the
이번엔
win.
좀 많이 갈릴 수도 있겠네요.
오른이 받을까요? 누굴까요?
So Orn
가져갔습니다.
요즘
got the POG for game number 2.
기용하면서 계속해서 좋은
So
모습이
there
많이
are a
나오거든요.
lot of
사실
mid Orn
진짜
game coming in LCK.
이렇게 말씀드려도 될 것 같아요. 진짜
So
오른은
I mean Orn is so tanky and does so many damage at the same time. So red team
미란님은
always have to just ban it out unless they are able to pick
오른이
it up.
단단해서 MVP를 단단해서 받기가 힘든데 그냥 오른이한 챔피언이 너무
Well, being so
챔피언?
tanky doesn't really guarantee you a
안
POG.
죽는 것 같아요.
But
항상
Orn
어그로
is just
핑퐁이
too
되고
OP.
상대팀 딜러에 대한
It can
압박,
take
우리
so
팀
many
딜러를
aggro
편하게
and
데미지를
it also
딜링할 수
let
있는 약간 편하게
your
만드는
teammates to do
능력까지
a lot of
완벽했던 것
damage
같습니다.
and also the
지금은.
ornaments accelerates the lead in the later stage. And the laning phase is so good at the same time. It's so powerful in the team
자, 이번 경기
fights.
많은 분들이 막 괴롭다.
So it was
이런 거
not
봤는데
an-
뭔가
a game that we all
떠나서 뭐 예를
expected,
들어 노잼 도르가
you
있다면
know, because it was so long and kind
그런
of
생각이
not
드는
many actions was
경기였습니다.
happening.
선수
So
경기는
let's
기대해보도록
move on to
하겠습니다.
game number
만나보시죠.
3.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2020. I loved the Analyst Desk segment, which was, let's ignore that game even happened and just discuss ORNN for a little while. Because honestly, it's kind of what I want to do.
Atlas,
Yeah, mate.
we are about to go into game number 3 for all the marbles. We are about to put it all on the line here to kick off the first series between Don't Want to Go versus
Greatly reluctant fighters.
I tried. And I failed. Much like them.
Oh my god. Okay. We gotta pull it together. We gotta pull it together for one more game. And let's see whether the teams have learned from that experience. You can see Sword still sitting at the desk. Not going to be subbed out for either his actual sub in Ontara, who is sitting behind him for the top lane, or this mysterious Yukal potentially flexing towards top side of the map. It's not going to be happening.
All right.
It
Well,
was a full second late.
I don't even.
It's a full second late, Ella.
Stop! I have the image in my head. You ever seen the video? It was like a Windows 98 loading screen. Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Oh, my stomach. Okay.
It's like Vista paid a visit to this game as well.
Oh, no.
No, actually, he wouldn't have been late.
Oh.
He would have been fine. Don't
Okay.
worry. Current PCs can run Vista pretty well. As here we go. Into the ban and pick for game number 3. Will the Soraka just be banned? I don't know. I just guarantee that it will be a blue side ban if it's going to be banned at all.
Yeah, it was on. I mean, it was looking a little too rough. Poor Griffin there in game number 2. And honestly, the Kiana coming in on R5, it was really bizarre because he was staring into an ORNN and a Victor, both of which are going to be fine against Kiana.
Yeah.
And so, even though they had the Soraka, they had a really good bot lane matchup, they have the Sejuani, which is also going to scale. They didn't have a real mid lane champion because ORNN was able to neutralize the Kiana, hold her up in mid lane, and not allow her to really achieve anything.
And that was shown face up as well, so they knew that the on was going to be there.
You're hurting me.
I know.
You're
But we do
reminding
need to
me.
call a spade a spade.
Yeah. All right, well, let's have Soraka banned away here by Griffin, and then DAMWON, I mean, they'll end up going Yuumi ORNN, most likely.
Yep, you could imagine Yuumi on would make a lot of sense. Onus is not on them, as that's a Rek'Sai ban. DAMWON did demonstrate that they don't want to play Soraka. So, they either ban it or the Yuumi here. And I think the Yuumi stands out as a ban to me. And then, alright, Yazir can be banned. And now Griffin, what do? Do they pick the Yuumi and then DAMWON picks MF Braum? Something silly like that. Jarvan is going to be the priority. Interesting. This is when they pivot away from the Sejuani.
I mean, they also didn't B1 Soraka, and now DAMWON, they have the opportunity to go Soraka Yuumi.
Yeah, they could lock it in right here. And last time they went Yuumi Aatrox in this position. The first pick was, of course, Misfortune on Griffin's side. Misfortune now going to be locked away here. And DAMWON, I mean, just do it. Just lock in Soraka. Put her in support if you'd like to. Well, Yuumi is going to be picked up, so at least they've crossed that one off.
And they pick it up with an MF who generally wants to be in the backline, so not the most common of pairings, because MF isn't a traditional hyper, like in a Philios or a Jinx or something of that nature, which can...
That being said, the last bullet time is extraordinarily powerful.
Yes, that is true. And we might be seeing Kalista... Okay, it's going to be Kalista Thresh.
An oldie but a goodie.
And so, greatly reluctant fighters, I think they heard us. I think that they are ready to trade.
Yeah, it looks like this is pretty, we're looking a bit red on the side of Griffin.
Yeah, we
That's
actually...
not just their clothing.
We are.
As Syndra being looked at here is just a comfortable blind pick for DAMWON. Just, I mean, you may as well lock in Soraka. Never mind, it is going to be the Sejuani. So we'll see whether Soraka is going to be banned on DAMWON's side or not.
And We'll see what they end up banning away here. Will they ban away the Soraka?
You know what I can't wait for? This series to shape what we see in the next series, which is Soraka being left up and then Ixu dominating on the champion. DAMWON are going to ban the Kiana, which I think might be helping Griffin, actually. That being said, he's not able to actually pick the Kiana into an Ornn matchup anymore. So possibly could have got a few more things done. Not sure what it's necessarily signifying here, as far as targeting away that Kiana pickup.
Especially because the Kiana would have to come in blind.
Yeah.
Which is just very peculiar. Renekton now being banned away as well. And so I don't even really know what Griffin is trying to go for here. The draft is taking actually a really long time. Usually in this phase, it's a lot more quick.
Yeah.
It tends to go through.
Seems like these players don't necessarily understand exactly what they want to achieve out of their compositions.
Yeah.
Griffin's certainly looking like they're sinning this time around as Talia maybe taken off the board.
Talia being taken off as a very specific target at UCal.
Yeah, of course.
But
was a Talia one trick.
Ends up being the response, but I do think that...
I mean, Zoe's up and available. I think Showmaker could just lock it and is going to do that right now. And then last pick Soraka is disgusting. And Sword now has to blind pick a top laner that doesn't get countered by Soraka.
Well, I mean, he could just pick Soraka. That
Yeah,
would
well, I
be-
mean, actually right now, Griffin
because
almost have to.
There's so many... There's so much magic damage on the side of DAMWON. If they add another mage in top lane, it would be a nightmare, but looks like that's a little... It's too much.
I mean, DAMWON, if they do have Nuclear actually able to get an ult across and no one's built any armor, it is just going to cut them in half, right?
Yeah.
It is still going to work. This is an oldie but a goodie. The Galio has been slightly buffed on this patch. Winds of War linger around for a little bit longer and do a little bit more based on the amount of AP that you have built up. So DAMWON, they have the opportunity now. Does Noguri just want to win in a straight-up matchup? And looks like that might be what he wants to do, as do have a decent 4-1 capability if it is Fiora. Gangplank being considered certainly something that obliterates the Aatrox in the laning phase. Camille could certainly do it as well, and he can have a little bit more fun while he's at it. And that's going to be locked away. So no Sorakas, don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, we're going to get the Camille that ends up coming in, and the Gangplank would have been very interesting because his ultimate would have been able to help mitigate some of the pressure that Jarvan and Galio would be able to dish out later.
That's true.
But they're doing the very classic cliche DAMWON thing where what's going to end up happening now is they're picking strictly for their lanes and not against the enemy's team composition. And so Nuguri, on the Camille, he'll be able to eventually take over the game in the later stages and then be able to win out. But I expect that this game will have a lot more action. Honestly, if we get to 10 minutes and there's no kills with this kind of a team composition, I'm going home. I'm taking you with me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you be subject.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I really do.
I'm trying to look out for you.
In fact, we should probably take these teams with us as well. Because, yeah. I just hope that a repeat of game number 2 does not happen again. And with a composition like the one that Griffin has put together, that is not what is on the cards as far as what their comp should be trying to do. So at least there is that. Plus, over this side, we've got Showmaker on his famous Zoe, Noguri, his famous Camille there. Their 4-1 composition will be actually pretty capable. As this game goes on, Nuclear has that get-out-of-jail-free card as far as the bullet time is concerned if they're trying to defend some sort of siege to make sure that Noguri has as much room as possible in order to get back in time for the next wave, potentially, or continue pushing things out. So I like what DAMWON's comp is able to do as the game moves forward. A bit mono-red on the side of Griffin. Let's see whether they can pilot it to a victory. And at least one that is going to be a little bit more exciting as this game continues. As Irove is going to be immediately condemned by the Kalista. Yes, oath sworn, to use the correct vernacular.
And you know, Atlas, I'm so proud that you were picking up. You said mono red. That is
Yeah, I'm
accurate.
learning.
You
I'm
are.
learning. You know, we've been
Okay.
doing this for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
You know, 100% of the time. These are the things you got to pay attention to.
I like how much you extrapolate.
Yeah,
Here on the
I am a bit
broadcast.
of an extrapolator.
You are, and you infer a lot as well.
Yeah,
You know, so.
I'm all about inferences and extrapolating.
Ooh.
It's what I do.
Yeah,
I sometimes dabble in hypothesis also.
do you?
Yeah. Every now and again. I don't get ahead of myself or anything like that. Don't go crazy. As Yuka walking around in circles, Nuclear standing in a brush, Tarzan doing the same thing, but he's of course Tarzan. That's what he wants to
Now,
be doing.
I really like Canyon's skin here.
Yep, skin choice certainly up there.
It's the golden
The
pig.
piggy bank.
Yeah, the piggy bank.
Mm-hmm.
And always a fan of piggy banks.
Absolutely. And if you're not a fan of your piggy bank, you can purchase that piggy bank from the Riot store using the money within your
is true.
IRL piggy bank.
That
Turn
is-
your piggy bank into another piggy bank.
Yeah,
I've said piggy bank too many times, and it's now lost all meaning.
it really has. But that is all right.
Yuka
As-
deals with that wave very effectively. Both of our top laners, they meet on the top side. Let's see whether Noguri can have a game like game number 2 and unlike game number 1, where he wasn't able to put Sword down. He just walks towards Sword and takes 0 damage utilizing the passive. I like it a lot.
Meanwhile, Nuclear and Hoyt just sort of sitting down there in bot lane. Cat detaches and gets right back on immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of opening clears here, you have Tarzan doing a very bizarre one. You have him doing blue into Gromp and now pathing into red. So maybe we're going to actually see some action after this red buff. If he transitions into a full clear from here, I'm not going to know what to think.
Well, I feel like that has been the theme of today's broadcast. Not necessarily knowing what to think. It's Nuclear on the bottom side with the help of Hoyt. He's going to be pretty capable dealing with these minion waves underneath the turret. Good trade back there from Noguri, but Sword is making sure that he doesn't at least roll over this time around. As you mentioned, maybe without enough energy.
This is really good right now. Yucal,
Canyon
he
knows
has
exactly
the priority.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Showmaker's picked up an exhaust. Now Canyon's going to move on over. They do have vision, but it is going to be taken there by Tarzan. But now the fight is on. Nuclear moving on down here. The cat on a book is just running around, trying to get in position as Sword. Gets into position himself, but he's ignoring the MF. And the first blood goes to the Camille very, very quickly. Nuclear without a flash, but has used the barrier, and the heal was available there from the Yuumi. And the Aatrox did basically nothing in that fight. Now Showmaker is just looking for Yucal. Another auto, but a bubble will do it as well. And DAMWON, they grab 4 kills within the first 3.5 minutes. And yes, this game is very different from game number 2.
And DAMWON are just in a massive advantage right now. And we got more kills here in the first 3.5 minutes than we did last game for almost the majority of the game.
I think 35 minutes
Yeah.
was sitting on around
See?
2-1.
And they say we don't have the script.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
this is certainly looking better, though, because the acceleration is, I want to get the mathematics
I
on
mean,
that one as far as a comparison.
doesn't want to
because that's
go,
ludicrous.
turned into does want to go.
Yeah.
As they collapse on this invade. Sword a little bit later on his teleport. Not that it was going to really matter all that much. And so even though they had all of this planned and set up, that control ward inside of that brush, just to the right of the Scryer plant, paying off so well. And Showmaker also able to run there with the exhaust.
자, 조이의 무대. 빛의 망토. 유닛. 빛의 망토. 빛의 망토. 빛의 망토. 나이스. 여기서 풀 몇 개 주었어.
Nice work. And excited DAMWON Gaming very early on in this match. So already, I mean,
Lost
Griffin,
chapter
they won
on
in
Zoe.
game 1. And yeah, that's 2-0 to Zoe already.
Really
at level
not
8.
supposed to be happening.
Level
And also,
4.
She is only level 4 right now, so Galio's ahead in the CS department, or in the XP department, which is a little bit surprising. But up in top lane, Nuguri ahead of Sword, and that is more problematic. Nuguri also has double buffs. He has a Sheen.
Yeah, double buffs and a Sheen. And this wave crashing down towards Sword. This is... He already was crushing the lane beyond belief.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Almost getting 4 times the CS of his opposition there as Noguri walks on over. Gets some vision down, but I don't think he's too scared of what Tarzan's going to offer this situation. And his minion wave was just prepared. As this is going to just overlap to almost every lane. Maybe Viper will be able to get himself back into a leading position, because as you can see, he does have the double Doran's Blade, so as far as combat stats for this stage of the game, he is ahead. And he's on the Callista with the Thresh in his lane, which does have a lot of lane dominance. It's sort of the only good news that you can really be talking about here, because there is only bad stories to be had on the Griffin side.
And Griffin right now, I mean, they have the level 6 on Galio, but the lane state in bottom, not super ideal for them. And, I mean, it looks like they're just dancing, honestly. I have no idea what is really going on. Zyro is just dancing back and forth. And you can see Nuclear and Hoyt just backing up. They know that Galio is moving down into the right-hand side jungle. Nuggery has...
Yeah, Hextech Ultimatum comes in. He's got a level advantage. Okay, yeah, not going to find it. So the sweep doesn't come in. That will spare Sword for the moment.
And what a counter gank this could end up being by Canyon in the event that Tarzan would try to commit to this.
Waiting in the wings. Oh, trying his very best to bait this one out as the plate was given over to Noggery. He was being sneaky, waited around in the brush before he goes back home. We'll see whether Phage can actually be picked up on this back or whether it will just be some components. And yes, the completed Phage now there for this Camille. And Camille in this matchup, we've spoken about it many times before. Camille is intentionally picked into Aatrox, but shouldn't actually win the lane until a few items come, right? Like,
but
it's not
so
necessarily like you're supposed to like crush the lane. Having said, Noggery is doing exactly that right now.
It's just completely dominating Sword up there in the top lane. Sword only with the Kindle Gem and a Longsword right now is so far behind in that matchup that even if you end up bringing Tarzan up, if you don't kill Nuggery, things are just going to get so much worse. And so right now a Mountain Drake is live, which both parties should actually be really interested in trying to pick up whenever they can.
Yeah.
But Canyon now with level 6, UCal continuing on the left-hand side, and honestly, it's a bit disappointing. Showmaker, he came back to lane and with Lost Chapter versus Double Doran's Ring, and nothing really got achieved out of it. I have no idea how we had
He
such
lit the
a...
gargoyle on fire.
Okay, well, he did, and the gargoyles are already on fire due to the skin.
Hey, that's true.
You ever think about that?
Well, I do now.
Now, did he light him on fire, or did he add more fuel to the fire?
Ooh, well, we'll have to find out.
Perspective.
We'll have to find out as this game continues on, because we saw UCal with a lot of fire in his belly, theoretically, in the last one, as the bubble once again going to land. This is, yeah, lighting some different kind of fires. Some old Zoe fires being relit, in my mind, as Showmaker. Oh, that one would have been scary, but he gets a plate for it anyway. Bit of congratulations. There's some more sparkles being added here. As UCal... Oh my god, if that bubble had landed, or if Showmaker had had Ignite, that's just a dead gargoyle. So he has to go home. Jarvan's going to be there to pick up the lane farm, which is certainly good news for a jungler, but not good news for the game state for Griffin. Just really does feel like that first skirmish has said goodnight to this game. See whether Griffin can actually find some sort of ability to counteract it, as Noggery just dashing over a wall, having a good time, getting into the enemy jungle, continuing to put down vision, continuing to take even more control and add more pressure. And Noggery, when he's on, when it comes to like inflicting pressure on your opponent, he's probably one of the best in the league.
Yes.
We talk about best top laners for different reasons. I feel like Summit in a 1v1, very, very strong. Keen is a holistic top laner, definitely one of our top laners. But Noggery, when it comes to applying pressure, is absolutely the best.
Really is sort of his forte.
Sometimes to a fault.
Yeah.
Which is why we wouldn't necessarily go overboard with the praise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly a different story with Summit. I feel like there's something that goes on that we just don't understand. I don't think he understands it.
And Noggery almost riding Sword 40 CS.
Yep.
At 10 minutes. A lot of this is a byproduct of the skirmish that did happen in bottom, but he's also just doing a pretty phenomenal job Griffin did get the Mountain Dragon, but oh man, this could be another very ugly
There's
fight.
the final chapter. The snare is going to land onto Yukal. He flashes in a very odd direction. Not sure what that one's about, but does avoid death. Just barely, but Hextech Ultimatum is going to kill him as an afterthought. And now Viper has to utilize the ultimate in order to get out of there. Tarzan takes a gigantic chunk from the Paddle Star. They've taken what they wanted. Yukal goes down. The Dragon was taken by Griffin, actually. So
Yeah,
that's great for them.
this
And
allows-
Sword's now given some time.
Yeah, this allows him to recover. Not the cleanest CSing, all things considered. He's losing out on time trying to get that turret plate. In fact, he might not even get it because he elected to queue the spellcasters without letting them pile up with the melees. No, he's going to end up getting it. And
Nope.
now he's going to try to recall,
yeah, it does.
but
That wave's going to crash again, and I don't know whether he's going to be able to get back to it.
I just don't know
teleport.
if Camille was actually able to cancel Atrox there with the hook shot and sweep. But you can see in the replay, Yukal, he tries to flash out for a heroic entrance to try to escape, but it just doesn't even matter at that point. There was no way that he was getting away from the members of DAMWON, as it was a full-on retreat after this one. And the Atrox, he doesn't even scale in this team composition. The Camille is just going to be able to take over now with the Trinity Force completed up there in top lane. Sword has to be really careful.
Has brought it back to a 30 CS margin instead of the 40 or 50, which is what it was before. So, I mean, if you're looking for positives, there's that. And also that Mountain Drake prevents a perfect game against Griffin. Another positive. Look at me, I'm on a roll. It's now Canyon in position to try and get a dive down onto Sword. 3 turret plates left. Here is, that's a great playback. Nuclear immediately going to flash as Zoomies, barrier, everything. In fact, every single summoner spell of the bottom lane in DAMWON is going to be utilized in order to survive that. It's a great engage there by Irove. In the meantime, the rest of DAMWON is just obliterating the map.
And now Canyon and Nuggery looking like they're going to end up diving onto Sword. Tarzan's here a little late.
Yeah, Sword is actually going to get out here, but Canyon has to flash Nuggery as well. He's looking for a double. Hextech Ultimatum comes in, and they've just outplayed it. Canyon, without the Arctic Assault, now trying to get out. And remember, there's no flash here. Cataclysm's done, but great first knock up there from Sword. Canyon, Arctic Assault finally comes on in, but a little bit greedy there from DAMWON.
And it really looks like they misplayed the dive, and then obviously Tarzan showing up and Sword doing what they could to play around it. Ended up managing with them getting the kill onto Nuggery. So a bit of fresh air if you are a Griffin fan watching this.
Yep.
A little bit of breathing room. Sword catching up in the XP department, getting a lot of CS as well. And we just take a look at this. So Camille doesn't have her ultimate yet. And combo goes off completely. And it's so surprising. Nuggery elects to try to mix up his damage onto Tarzan and Sword rather
I mean,
than just try
Hextech
to...
Ultimatum would have killed Tarzan if he hadn't a stopwatch.
Yeah, he had the stopwatch available. Now right here, Atrox had already flashed out, so if Nuggery is doing everything, he can just flash onto Atrox. Let's do this, let's do this. He sounds so sad about saying it, you hear it?
Yeah.
Almost defeated.
Well, it hasn't been defeated yet, and this is certainly going to be an avenue back into the game. Still, 4,000 gold is the deficit, and Nuggery still controls this lane regardless of how the chips fell in that last exchange. Sword wants to try and get some sort of engage, but the Hextech sweep working out very well there, and Nuggery's just avoiding everything. Tarzan's going to move on back in, though. Hextech Ultimatum now back off cooldown. Nuggery just going to burn down. That is going to be enough damage with the Cataclysm and the red buff. And 2 in a row for Nuggery after everything was going so well.
And honestly, this is getting a bit problematic. This is allowing the Atrox back into the game. Tarzan starting to also get a lot going for them. They're going to manage to get this second Rift Herald of the game. And if you're Showmaker right now, you're feeling really bad because you had so many advantages from mid lane. You had all the turret plates, you got the turret, and bot lane is also losing right now for DAMWON Gaming. Nuclear and Hoyt losing a lot in the CS department, and this has closed the gold advantage to less than, or it's actually about 2,000, which is really scary.
Yeah.
All things considered.
This is what this composition from Griffin needs to be doing as well, because they have sort of that mid-game wombo combos type team composition that wants to play around those two items that are so important for champions like the Kalista, like the Aatrox. You want to get towards your cooldown reduction as Aatrox as quickly as possible, and then you're basically just augmenting what is already there. Going to have a look at this replay one more time of how it all went down, and Noguri actually played this very nicely, but unfortunately when there's a jungler there, there's just nothing that he's actually able to do to answer this.
He had flash, but he's just greeting. He could have easily flashed out of any of this way sooner and saved all his HP, and then eventually made it out, but he saved it until the very end. Tagged by the red smite, ended up just falling to it.
But it's not like Noguri to play full tilted. You know, he doesn't necessarily play massively worse if he's been camped or anything like that. Doesn't let it get under his skin. We'll see whether that is going to remain the case as he walks all the way around that control ward. And now he's brought his friends. In fact, he's brought all of them.
Yeah.
Sword is very much dead underneath this turret. World Ender utilized. I wouldn't press any buttons, to be honest. Sword, you don't want to put anything on cooldown when you are definitely going to be going down. As the minion wave's going to conga line towards that top lane outer turret. And DAMWON will be able to collect that as well. Some respite given to the rest of the map, but honestly, Griffin didn't really have much of an answer. So what just happened there?
Well, at this point, DAMWON probably just going to end up waiting until the next Infernal Dragon. Going to continue to just complete core items. As there's no real reason to fight. You can now, at this point, just wait for Griffin to come into you and allow the Camille to begin her split push phase. And even though there's a Galio on the enemy team and he's able to heroic entrance, it doesn't really matter. Viper going to try something here.
Yeah, big flash forward from Viper. Gets into the brush. Nuclear, absolutely nothing he can do. So aggressive, but he knew exactly what he was capable of there as Noguri looking for this 1v2 again. Flash comes out. Noguri doesn't have his available, but now Sword doesn't have his jungler anymore. Tarzan not going to be able to put down this Rift Herald anytime soon, and definitely not in this lane. It's actually timing out relatively quickly.
Well, the enhanced recall by the Rift Herald is going to let him get back to the base faster.
Needs to find a location in order to put that one down. Hopefully he doesn't put it too far forward as we have a look at the player perspective of Viper here. Throws down the heel just for the extra movement speed. Guarantees that kill comes in. Picks up a lantern, all in a day's work there for our friend Viper. Slowly but surely, he's just crushing this game as well.
That was really interesting. Tarzan wrote... Let me think what that image just was. I think 1950 top, but the top was written in English. That was really surprising.
Interesting. It's kind of cool.
I don't know if anyone else noticed that.
I certainly didn't, but I'm glad you brought it up.
All right, thank you, Alice. I'm glad I have you there for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Turret is not going to require Shirley, but she had nowhere else to go, and they're going to try and push her towards this inner turret as well. But there is a Yuumi and a Piggy. Cat, Pig, Camille. Should be enough to at least take it down. Gets one charge, though, and that's exactly what they wanted out of her here. Sword missing some CS. I'm glad we panned over just to check that out before moving towards the mid lane here as Showmaker has picked up a Super Soaker. Tarzan on vision. As Showmaker finds the bubble. Canyon not actually going to follow up on that one just yet. Portal jump. Not wanting to risk it is Showmaker over the wall.
And we got only 26 seconds now until the Infernal Dragon comes up. This should just be able to be easily picked up by DAMWON, but if there's going to be any hope in this game, it'll be Viper on this Kalista.
And he is charged up. He's very, very close to grabbing that Rudan's Hurricane, which is, of course, going to be that huge power spike that every Kalista player dreams of. Canyon waiting in the brush, but Iroh just going to wander on in there with his Moby Boots. He's got a QSS as well, so actually feeling pretty good to move forward and actually face check a lot of these brushes. I like that decision.
Yeah. Yuumi just dealing so much damage to really try to wither down the opponents here as Camille is up there in top lane. Okay.
Trouble just a little bit. Teleport available from Nogari. His sword is going to take the lantern in order to get out.
They don't need
this
him.
Dragon Pit, and then Nogari just says, this is going to be my job this game.
What?
Teleport from the Galio. Head up towards this top side, and that's going to give away the Infernal Drake, definitely. Canyon not even in the area. He's taking his Krug Camp. And 2 more of those, please, says DAMWON.
That's a really big pickup for them. For the Camille, MF, and the Zoe. And even the Yuumi, I guess a little bit. Probably not all that much value really going to her. Sejuani obviously making the worst of it.
Yep.
As Oblivion Orb, I believe, was just picked up on Showmaker, even though there is Merc-Treads, Quicksilver Sash on the enemy team.
But the Callista doesn't have any
Callista
magic
doesn't
resist.
have any magic resist, but she will later.
Oh yeah, the next
So,
item almost definitely will be.
Right now,
USS, something
there's
like that.
at the time of Showmaker's purchase, there's 4.5 minutes until the next major neutral. If you have 1,600 gold, or maybe even a little excess, you factor in what Showmaker's assumed gold per minute is going to be, and just build towards Void Staff.
Yeah, or Death Cap.
Well,
If you're not, if you know.
it's just so bizarre why he would pick up Oblivion Orb and Ice if he builds a Morello. I don't know what to say anymore, Alice.
Well, I mean, we've heard it all before,
Doesn't
so you
want
don't really
games.
need to say anymore. But yeah, doesn't want games. Doesn't
Gains.
win games? Gains.
Gains.
Right.
Yeah, that word.
Well, what their name could stand for is Drafts Win Games. That's a little bit ironic at this point in time, especially now that Nuclear is being put out of position. Pretty cookie cutter there with the heroic entrance, but it works. Tried and tested as now Canyon, not too many options. He was waiting for an opportunity to throw out something to try and get a re-engage, but didn't actually do anything whatsoever, and Nuclear has just been put in the ground. Now Griffin breathe a sigh of relief.
And slowly but surely, these things keep allowing them a sliver of hope inside of the game. Even though the Camille is really getting scary. Gonna have the Ravenous Hydra soon completed.
Yeah, we'll see where he goes next with the build as well. Will it be straight into the Guardian Angel, or will it be Steric's Gauge to add a little bit more firepower and defensiveness as far as that 2v1 or the 1v1 that he's going to see, as we're going to check out this engage. Tarzan just taxiing right on in there.
And there's really nothing that MF can end up doing there. Although in the replay it showed she doesn't have Flash, but in live, it's showing that Nuclear does have Flash, so that's a little bit bizarre.
May have just come up. I don't know. What was the cooldown in the replay?
It looks very big in the replay.
All right.
Yeah, that's a little strange.
Definitely strange.
But as the game stands right now, there's no reason to really fight, so all that we're having is a vision clearing over and over. And then eventually Scuttlecrap on the right-hand side will end up coming up. DAMWON going to be the ones to pick that up. We'll see where the next respawn of it ends up being, and then DAMWON will get the next Infernal most likely, as Griffin still probably aren't going to be in a position to fight them. And then that's going to threaten Soul Point for Infernal Dragon, which is insane for their team comp.
So I guess we pack it up until then, right?
Yeah, what would you... Okay, sure.
Well, we'll see whether it does follow the script that you have in front of you. I wasn't expecting you to cheat this series, but turns out every time the script is available, the leaked script himself cannot help but go towards it. Zyro going to get chunked underneath this turret. DAMWON certainly with this opportunity, with this composition. Minion wave dealt with.
Whoa!
Good night, Iroh. Showmaker just pops it. And that is going to really spill over as Sword has to Umbral Dash to get out of the way of this inner turret. Opening up the map here for DAMWON, extending the gold lead. 5,000 is approximately that one. Showmaker once again just looking for bubbles. And Nogari, he ain't stopping.
Yeah. Oh, Nuggery caught underneath the turret.
Too worried right now,
Yep.
but some of these Paddle Stars and Trouble Bubbles will need to land.
All that they're doing right now is just trying to clear all of the minion waves, crash them into the turrets, fall back, Now they'll try to pick up the Infernal Dragon, although Nuclear looks like he's genuinely seeking a recall. There's Dragon in 20 seconds. He has Home Guard. He also has Strut on MF.
And also probably has Infinity Edge that he wants to purchase as well. Stopwatch is done. They know that there's going to be a fight around here, and they've maximized the damage output of the MF.
So they end up losing priority to the Dragon. They should end up losing the Scuttle Crab.
Yep, they are going to do that.
They end up getting it. And now MF back down in close proximity. Is DAMWON just going to start the Infernal Drake?
Well, I think they can. They've got double smite now as well, with Showmaker picking one up there. As you can see, Tarzan, I believe, left one on the ground. But that is going to be Infernal Drake taken, and Soul Point locked down.
Yeah.
It's going to have a look at this from Showmaker. This is what happens when you've got just vision everywhere. Good night. I don't think he needed the Proto Belt, but added it on.
Well, he wanted to bring out the belt. Why does Zoe have Morello? Hello?
Copying.
Oh, okay.
Copying the item build.
The Forbidden Book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yukal missed out on the Luden's Echo, but otherwise they're the same.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's an entire Luden's Echo that he's behind. As the Zoe's certainly in a great position this game. Showmaker also now at the stage of the game where Zoe is so valuable. As yes, gold has been falling off a cliff. You can see that exact moment at about 3.5 minutes into this game where everything went wrong. Those first 4 kills for DAMWON certainly felt like it turned the elevation of this walk for Griffin very, very high.
And honestly, after those kills, though, nothing really happened that much outside of a few very bizarre deaths.
And also Noguri getting camped, right? Certainly didn't work out. As all right, we're looking for it. Not quite able to get the damage done after the paddle start and the bullet time. Tarzan spotted. Showmaker not finding the angle.
And DAMWON just continue to keep getting leads as they're coming for Noguri.
Get to the Baron or to an inhibitor turret, I guess, is going to be the answer here. Is okay. Iroh really wanted to chase after this kill. That was Narnia direction, as Noguri needs to walk over to the members of Griffin and start emote spamming. That's what you do. That's the ideal play in that scenario. Like the taunt button, but they'll take an inhibitor topside and they'll move over towards the Baron, and DAMWON have this game well and truly in their clutches.
Well,
bubble lands. As Tarzan trying to force this, but it might be too aggressive. The flash comes in immediately. Showmaker's going to cleanse it. Final chapter doesn't go in the right direction, and the exhaust is almost unnecessary on the sword because he dies so fast. Tarzan now in the middle of 3 members and will just be destroyed. Viper takes one with him, but eventually goes down as well. And could this just be the end of the game as it stands? I think the answer might be yes.
Well, the minion wave is pretty far away in top lane, but they have a really close one here in mid. And with the Camille, I think this is definitely going to be the end of the game. 20 seconds on everyone is going to be too long.
Yep. And at 29 minutes into this game, after that brilliant 3-minute play that DWG were able to come out on the top of, they do close this one out in the end. 12-5. I was expecting, honestly, a 2-0 from DWG, but they are the victors. They are going to be able to walk away with this one.
And you really got to wonder what is going through everyone's minds on both of these teams when reflecting back on this kind of a series. There was not a lot of fighting. There was not a lot of action. The game was decided at very key points.
But also it was like there were decisions that weren't even opted in for, you know? It's like they were 2 students that didn't show up for the tests, but just one had a little bit more attendance than the other one, right? Like, this is not like the clash that we saw yesterday between DragonX and T1, not like when we saw Gen G versus T1, and not going to be the same as the Gen G versus DragonX that we've got coming up tomorrow. I think that today's games are really going to be the dark side of the moon as far as the LCK is concerned, and I feel like there is a pretty stark divide between the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
And the thing that's really strange is that this is DAMWON solidifying their 5th spot. They are now, theoretically,
And they're getting it
the
in
5th team.
weirdest of ways.
Yeah.
If you look at all of their wins, and even their individual wins, everything just looks so bizarre. And so outside of the top 3 teams in LCK right now, though, everything is really looking a bit cloudy.
Yeah.
For everyone else.
And we've been getting ocean drakes, so I guess maybe it's monsoon season. In the LCK here today, we weren't necessarily expecting the cleanest play out of this particular matchup. Both of these teams have certainly been showing that they haven't necessarily found themselves in the 2020 season just yet. If this was the summer split, maybe we'd be a bit more harsh as far as the criticism is concerned. We're still harsh. However, you do have to realize that this is a Griffin that's trying to rebuild, DAMWON with new coaching staff, Zephyr trying to get his head around these crazy players and what they want to do these games. I could imagine that Noguri could get overexcited in some of his decisions, but the Camille eventually ended up working, and what DAMWON did was they played their comp the way it's supposed to be played in the final game. Yes, it was slower than it should have been. Yes, they got carried by a 3-minute play, but honestly, their steps that they took afterwards were what they needed to do, and we can at least take happiness from that. You know, there are glimmers of hope, but this was a bit of a fiesta of a series.
This was something. This was a very slow 3 games.
Yep.
Even after some explosiveness. We're going to take a look at some of the highlights. As
this is it. This
you
is the
can
highlights.
make an argument that whoever placed that ward is the MVP, by the way.
Ooh.
That would be a pretty good argument.
Well, hopefully the observers have both added that, because they, of course, have the ability to go back and opt into a situation like that. As Yukal, he manages to just punch his way out for a moment, but Showmaker finds him. And bit of a disaster to start this game off on Griffin's side. This was an outplay, though. Nicely played by Sword. Canyon, of course, there for the counter gang was fantastic.
And so it really did look like Nuguri is able to just get onto Sword and kill him with Flash, and elected not to.
Yeah, if he hadn't have split his damage with Tarzan, with Tarzan and almost killed him, it would have been a different story, as Viper was trying to take the bull by the haunches. But this wasn't a game about bottom lane.
No.
As it generally is with a DAMWON win. You know, it's about solo laners, and it's about the difference in those lanes. And it really did feel like the bottom lane didn't matter whatsoever. Much to the detriment of a great player like Viper. I still think that he is highly skilled, but just wasn't able to affect the map at all.
He was doing a really good job on the Kalista, but all of that pressure that came in mid lane as well as top lane, it was just too much. Especially after the opening. I'm coming.
Professional
flash, Galleon flash. Aatrox. Just talking about getting Kalista.
Good sidestep there from Nuclear as well, off to the side, but Showmaker playing this team fight out pretty well. And they're right.
They really messed up. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe they were talking about game 1. Because that was true. A lot of damage out from Noguri. 16.6k, 15.7 there for the Zoe in the mid lane as well, and not very much damage at all out of anyone on Griffin's side.
Yeah. Well,
what
good news.
Weird series.
Yeah.
It's one of the stranger ones.
Yeah. We're going to go to the player of the game now.
Yep.
And
Let's see who's going to be awarded it. It is going to be the Zoe Showmaker. They're in the mid lane, 12 out of 12. Everyone deciding that it was all about this play. And like a lot of this was actually decided by Showmaker and how he played it out.
And Yuumi was the one that planted that ward in that brush.
Okay, so we probably shouldn't have given 12 votes to Showmaker.
Yeah. Someone needed to give the cat.
Yeah.
Someone needed to throw the cat a bone.
Yeah, not a book.
You know? Not a book.
Enough the books.
As Showmaker, he did a really good job. He got all of those turret plates in mid lane.
actually just
Got
destroyed the turret.
A lot
before
of kills.
14
Yeah,
minutes.
he
Very
got the
impressive.
turret as well. Did a very good job as well in that team fight at the very, very beginning. And never really let the game get away from him, even when the top and bot lane,
Yeah,
they were
and
trying their best.
And there were certainly moments where Griffin were able to fight back in this series, especially topside. Tarzan being in the right place at the right time. But that means that we are going to have an interview with Showmaker now, so let's throw it over to Jisun for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Jason with the internet translation, and we'll be hearing from the solo POG of today's match, Showmaker. So finally, you got the win and you got the POG for the interview. We did get this win, but we didn't really perform well. I mean, both teams had so many mistakes, so we were just lucky enough to get this win. So speaking of mistakes, yeah, I mean, fans are worried about DAMWON's performance recently. You guys not on your form. Why is that? Well, during the practice, we make a lot of mistakes. Well, I mean, like, if we lose every time during the scrims or make too many mistakes, it will be acceptable, but nowadays, I mean, just for the competitive games, we are losing so bad, so I really don't know why. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying that you guys are crashing in scrims. Well, but fans can be like excited for DAMWON with cleaner performance, right? Yes, we will do our best. So after losing that game number 1, game 2, your Ornn was doing so many work, and Ornn itself is a champion with 72% win rate. So what's your thought on Ornn? What's the biggest strengths, or what's most important in playing Ornn? I mean, Ornn is a tank champion, so you can survive for a long period of time. But usually tank champions are really weak during the laning phase, but it also does so many damage. It's also really strong in the laning phase. So that's why Ornn is so good in the current meta. And moving on, game number 3, you picked up 12 votes. Everyone voted for your Zoe for the POG. So were the players confident after the draft, or after like playing some of the games after the game has started? Well, we went with draft that really, the piloting the draft we got really mattered, but we were a little bit worried, but I think we did quite well. Well, so there was a very huge team fight in the early phase. So J4 usually bullies Sejuani. That's the kind of matchup, so he went in for the counter jungle. But Noguri made a call that he was pushing lane, so he has the TP priority. And also Zoe is really good in that kind of team fight, so we were able to get the win. So, as you mentioned, game 3, you guys were showing great performance. However, at the end, the players didn't really look happy. Was that any specific mistake you are unsatisfied about? I was so bad in game number 1, so I felt like we lost the game because of me. But game 2 and 3, I didn't die, and I made a lot of covers whenever like our teammates were making mistakes, and I helped them like keep encouraged. But well, I'm quite satisfied, but the rest of my teammates are feeling still bad about today's match. I don't want to make this interview too gloomy. I'm sorry for that. But so let's talk about your next opponent, Sandbox. You guys are both the LCK friends, you know, making it from the Challenges Korea, but staying in the middle rank currently. So the teams from Challenges Korea are having a rough time. So I hope we all just can like cheer up and step up and show great performance. That's a really cool friendship coming in over there. So lastly, any message for your fans? So we are on a 3 win and 2 losses. So I will do my best to stack up as many wins as possible till the end of the first round and get to the higher rank. this will be the end of the interview with Showmaker, and I'm going to pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jisun, as usual, for the interview translation. Back to back for Showmaker there. So congratulations to him. Pretty disappointed with himself, and I like the more somber expression that he took this series, understanding that it wasn't necessarily the cleanest. And they are going to be able to move ahead of both Hanwha Life and Griffin now and lock down that 5th spot here in the LCK very early on in week 3, though, and certainly more matches to come.
And I don't believe that we can actually have any change to the standings, mostly because the final match of the night...
No, that's not going to affect anything, right? Because we've got KT versus APK, and all that's going to do is put one of these teams into 10th place.
Yes.
Because right now they share that 9th spot with no victories to their name just yet. Couple of game wins, but no match wins yet. But one of them has to win in our next matchup. We'll be about half an hour, guys, but when we get back, APK Prince versus KT for all of the marbles, or should I say, for none of the marbles. For one of them. Some of the marbles for one team, and definitely none for the other. I didn't think I messed up that analogy. Hopefully we go to break soon. Here we are, 30 minutes, and we'll be back for our second series of the night.